and you can bring that to life. So I just want to be clear about the investors definitely are the ones who are giving the money. You as the founder are the one who's seeking.
And it doesn't matter your idea or your age. I know we have a high school student in here. They're 9-year-olds making $1 million in business today.
Right.
So and they have the advantage because they have more access to knowledge than we did growing up. We had to use encyclopedias.
This morning we just were talking about that. It was not information age at the tip of your fingertips. We had to go really digging. And the days of the old, when you apply for grants and different types of funding, it used to be an essay. You'd have to write pages and pages and do some research and write a research project on it. Today's time is the pitch, so we're going to get into that. Okay, next slide. Hey, I know her. That looks like, you know her?
Yeah, she looks familiar.
I counted about 5 this morning and 6 by the time I have a meeting next week. So the list does go on and on. I definitely am known for the salon, but I do a lot of things behind the scenes now. I was able to retire from, back kicking with my feet up. That just means that I'm transitioning from one career path to the next and helping others to get into what their destiny is and what their passion is. And I am a salon industry expert is what I've been called. Because of that, I'm able to get with other people that are aspiring to do what I have done and coach them and get them to the point where they need to be. I'm also a boss breeder. It's the shirt, the label. I was given that title because at least 25 businesses and counting have arrived and been created through the help of my direct coaching. So boss breeder is a nickname that I absolutely love. It's my new hashtag, so feel free to call me that.
You all take the pictures today. Make sure you hashtag boss breeder.
Hashtag boss breeder. But thank you. So that's me, and we've introduced Mr. Adrian next. And Adrian's book, guys, he told you that you can find out more about the funding. The book is called After the Pitch. I highly suggest that you do get that. So there's a glossary of terms that we should know when we're going into these rooms and these meetings to find out more about how to get your business funded, terms that we may not know or haven't been grown up learning these things. And so if you're new to finance, if you're new to different aspects of business, I do highly suggest to go ahead and get into his book and make a purchase, because we support each other, but by supporting him, it's also supporting your dreams, because you get to know more about the direction that you can take.
And you can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anybody buy books.
The name of it?
It's called After the Pitch. And I also have a podcast called After the Pitch that digs into a lot of those questions that's in the book. So I usually use like 5 to 7 minutes and really dig into each one of the questions.
And that's amazing.
I did. They're in the car, so I'll sign them.
Yes. And I'm going to get mine autographed. I already bought a couple of them, so I'm going to get mine autographed today as well. Don't forget me. Don't forget to.
Would you like for me to get them out the car?
Reset?
Would you like for me to get them out the car?
No, I'll get them after.
Yeah.
We'll have tons of time.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. Thank you, though.
Okay, next time.
All right, so the Spark Grant. So once again, like Tika said, every year the Flywheel Foundation does a Spark Grant where they get founders $5,000 to start their business, to grow their business. It could be an idea. You could just be, coming into it saying, I've been wanting to start this, but I just need a Kickstarter on how to do it. And that's what the Spark Grant really does for you. You apply, they pick 20 people. I think they had 150 or so people apply. And they picked 20. And from those 20, we went through an entire program where we really talked about our business, talked through our business. We did customer discovery, where you actually interview potential customers to see what they want, how they want it. And then Tika and I were that actually received the funding.
So that's big. We went from 150 to 20 and then on down to 4, and we were able to win that. So when we say win money, grants is supposed to be free money, right, y'all?
Yeah.
Is it free, Adrian?
It is not free at all.
Okay, thank you. Right, that term has been been used, it has been thrown around. We say, oh yeah, go get a grant, it's free money. So I'm gonna say, no. Hey, I want a grant. No?
No.
Okay, that's not how
No,
it
no,
works.
no. Only if.
All right, so we'll get into the pros, the good stuff. You get business funding. When you're applying for these startup grants and different types of grants, there are different variations. There are some government grants that nonprofits may attain and depend on a regular basis. This is not that. These are one-time hitters. You get in there, you do the requirements, you fit the requirements of their specifications, and you get the money, right? But there are specifications. So you make connections in this. Connections are always powerful. When we did our pitch down in Cabarrus County, which is the Spark Grant location, we had government officials, we had the mayor in the room, we had different people listening to us that could potentially pick up our idea and want to sponsor us. So it was not just about winning the 5K, it's about who you're in the room with. Because that one person who liked your idea, who's thought of that but hasn't thought of it in depth like you, but has the money to fund it, may want to connect with you. So you always have to be aware of who's there.
And we met out of this, so
We
if
met.
it wasn't for Spark Grant, I wouldn't be here
Yes.
talking to you today.
Exactly.
So just remember, as a business owner, there's always power in the room. No matter what room that you're in, there's power, there's talents that you could leverage for your business in some way.
Exactly. Even our teams, Marcellus, he's out there in the audience, we keep picking on you, but that's a prime example. I was able to ask him a few questions and he was able to answer. You have to know your business. He was able to pull up something on his phone. Well, this is my material, this is the new line, this is 2023. Those kinds of things get you to the next level in your business by knowing every aspect and understanding where you are and where you would like to go with your business. So give it up for Marcellus. All right. Resources. Like Adrian said, there's tons of resources. Everybody in the room could be potential resource. And then you get to hone in on your business. As you do customer discovery, you may realize your target is not who you thought it should be. You may think that your age range is 18 to 25, and then you realize that the people who are really buying it is the parents of the 18 to 25. So you need to be more so getting in the spaces where they are as well to get noticed by the people with the money.
Yeah. So some of the cons is it's not free. It is very much time consuming. All programs are slightly different. They could ask you to do a 30-second pitch of your business. Then you move to the next round and you do a 1-minute pitch. You move to the next round, you do a 3-minute pitch. Then you go to the next round, if you make it to the next round, and now you have to pitch in front of people. Or they may say, hey, we need a 3-year or 5-year business plan. So there's going to be time that you're going to spend on this, even though they're going to give you money. And at the end of the day, they may not even give you money. So you could have gone through this 4-week, 6-week, 3-month program and then not received anything at all other than the knowledge that they provided you, if they provided you with some kind of knowledge. So with the particular program we were in, they really wanted to hone in on your business model. And if someone could pass these out. I have example business models that you all can have, take home, look at when you're thinking about your business, and really focus in on the pieces of your business that matter before you start going off and doing a whole, 20, 30-page business plan.
Right, and that was very helpful when you really get down into the specifications that you would need to create this business plan. So that's always knowing your business models, right? So we do have to give it up for the Cabarrus Center out in Cabarrus County, because they have resources. There's a resource center there as well for you to go if you want more. And most cities have that. There's a business resource center. A lot of the colleges, community colleges have the small business centers where you can go and get some free resources as well. And we also have a consulting agency right here at C3, which is our lady Sherry. You can see Sherry, and she will definitely help you hands-on a personable resource as well. So, okay. Now we're moving into
Last thing.
Oh, the last
so
thing. Sorry.
One thing I can say also about the grant funding is that it is a slow avenue for growth. Like if you need like one lump sum of $5,000, $10,000, that's great. But if you're looking for grant funding to fund your business continuously, like you have to go through these programs over and over again. Like some people make a career of it. And I know people who made millions of dollars through grant funding, but it's taken them 3, 4, 5 years. So you have to consider that. How fast do you want to grow in your business?
Right.
Yeah, that was the last one.
That was good. And when Adrian mentioned like the 30-second versus the 3-minute and the 5-minute, there is a difference between an elevator speech, which is about 30 seconds. You just run down who you are, what you do, and what you're accounting for to the next on the elevator. And then there is the pitch, which could go on for several minutes. Even the one that we will give you an example of later is probably about, in its shortest form, 7 minutes, but in its longest form could go on for 20-something minutes if we were to go in further detail and not just tell you what's on screen. So you have to be really prepared to talk about your business, to not be afraid to, well, I won't even say not be afraid, because if you have a little nervousness, that's okay, but you have to push through that nervousness because you're going to be in front of people to be able to put that idea out there. And sometimes it can be hard, you can get skeptical because it's like, well, if they don't pick up my idea, now they know my idea, so you want to be cautious of who you're dealing with as well, make sure it's a reputable organization.
And,
Oh,
go ahead. No, and I know that like many of you, when you start your businesses, this is your baby, right? Like you don't want someone to call your baby ugly. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Like at some point, it's gonna happen to you. And like even in my book, like the first time that someone told me that they didn't like my baby, my business, like I was like dumbfounded because they were like, "Oh, it's such a great idea," and I'm in the middle of a pitch, and the guy was like, "I just don't like it," and he was one of the judges, and like it hit me like so hard, and till this day I still talk to the same guy, and I'm like, "See where I am now?" He's like, yeah.
That's a great subject.
But someone's gonna say they don't like your idea. It's probably because they're not your customer.
Right.
So just consider that. You had a question?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to make sure before you move to the next slide that you see if people have questions.
Okay, sure.
Any questions before we move to the next portion? Is there anything at all that you need to elaborate on? If you want to walk out with what you need. Oh, well, go ahead.
I was looking for a mic, but I did have a question.
Okay.
But I didn't want to.
And Miles, did you have a question as well? Yes, after that, okay.
I did want you to talk a little bit about, you said that how to pitch your idea in front of other people, that you said you don't want to have someone actually take your idea, I guess. And I guess my concern would be that sharing my idea or sharing what I have, how do I guard against someone just taking it and just running with it that already has the money and that kind of thing? So how do you guard yourself against that?
A lot of times just making sure it's a reputable business that you're pitching in front of, but you can't really control that. If there's someone in the room, even the mayor was there, he could be like, well, I like that, you just don't know who would do that. So you just have to be confident in yourself and your knowledge and your ability to still be able to push forward with your idea, because nobody's going to do it like you do it. They have the similar idea, the similar vision, but it's going to be Tony's way, and Tony is anointed by our Lord and Savior. So Tony's thing is going to pick up before someone who stole his idea with the poor intention. So,
Oh, I love that, love that.
I hear that question all the time, and I always tell people, do you know what Walmart is? Do you know what Target is? Because Target stole the idea from Walmart. Do you know what Uber is? Do you know what Lyft is? Because Lyft stole the idea from Uber.
and they're all in the same market. They're competitors, but everyone has a piece.
So it's about how you deliver your product or your service to your customer that's going to make you stand out, whether someone takes your idea or not. There's tons of photographers in this world, right? But how you deliver your service to your clients, the way that your product is delivered and looks, what stands out for you, what's the value that you're giving your customer, it doesn't matter.
And that's on your sheet there about your
Value proposition right there in the middle.
Yeah.
Question from Miles Davis.
Miles Davis.
Thank you for the introduction. So, Mr. Marable, mental fortitude. So, obviously, business is sales, the nose, and then you're being told your baby's ugly. At what point are you able to stay focused on your particular strategy without transitioning to another business or pivoting?
Yeah, so a lot of businesses, this was not staged. I know Miles, but this was not staged.
You just had a nice commentator voice that make you pay attention.
It works, Miles.
I run into a lot of businesses, and I mean, to your point, Tony, like, you know, they have this idea, they start delivering it, then someone else has the same idea, and it's, oh, well, I'm gonna do something slightly different, like, which usually isn't slightly different, it's a total pivot. So, you know, I'm gonna use the photography example since Miles is in the room. They become a photographer, and then it's like, oh, well, you know, my friend Joe is doing it, so I'm gonna go and be a videographer. And then they find out their friend James is doing it, and it's like, you know what, I'm just gonna start painting. You know, and they'll just pivot their business as they go. What you should be doing more is looking at your model. And you should also remember why you started your business in the first place. Because let me tell you, I have been through some rough times. I mean, even, you know, a couple of weeks ago, I went through some rough times. And I said, man, I gotta remember who I am. Like,
Yes,
you know,
man.
yeah, like, you know, I've been doing some great things in my space, even though I ran into a roadblock. And you have to, as Miles said, have the mental fortitude to remember why you did it and to keep pushing through whatever those roadblocks are. Let me tell you, me and God talk to each other, we cry together. I mean, whether I'm in my house, in my car many of the times. And I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing to me right now? And I mean, but I always come out of the storm better than I came in. So at the end of the day, you have to remember why you did it, and that's going to give you the mental fortitude to keep going.
Amen.
Thank you.
My mama told me I should have been a preacher.
You still have time.
Yes, Lord.
Okay. So my question is, you talked about us as a people and how we need to have our financials together. Should we, before we even do anything like this, have our credit score together and our finances together before we even try to do something like this?
No. What you should be thinking about, though, are two things. How I'm going to keep my financials organized, whether I have bad credit or not, and how I'm going to build my company to exit.
Right.
So a lot of black businesses do not consider, oh, in 5 years or 10 years, I'm going to sell my business. And what happens is you keep that business as long as you can, and then you get tired. And you say, oh, well, I'm too old to run this cleaning service anymore. My back hurts. When you should have been thinking about, well, how can I build it, have my financials in order? Because when someone wants to buy your business, the first thing they're going to look at is your financials.
And see that cash flow, what's coming in, what's going out, and you have to be able to prove it and show it and know it. You should always know your numbers as well.
Yeah. So those are the two things I would say. It doesn't matter about what your credit score is today. Your business is going to have a credit score. So, and it's going to start from the beginning. So it's all about you working through that idea, building revenue, and making sure that you stay organized in the process.
Can we talk about that DUNS number?
That was so good.
How to accomplish it? You taught it to me, so I just
Yeah,
wanted to
so there's something called a DUNS number, D-U-N-S. You can get it for your business. It's basically your business's credit number. So you can attach it to your business bank account, and that will help you build your credit. So when larger corporations especially, I mean, like smaller companies don't look at it, but larger corporations, they go search your DUNS number to see what your business credit score is. And it's free, so you can just do it online. Also, have your EIN, employee identification number. That's free as well. And then just make sure that you're registered with the state that you're in.
And so with that DUNS number, even if you have poor personal credit, you still have the chance to get it right on your business credit. Because once you attach that number to your business banking account and you know that you have your items, your cleaning monthly items on Amazon repeat and it's going to that credit card and that money is there and you never skip a payment, then you building up that credit for your business. I just use that as an example, but you see what I'm saying. That as long as you're making sure that those payments are paid, everything is flowing smoothly from your business account and no hiccups, then that is building you up.
So yeah, in our program, you can go to the next slide.
So in other words, it is the DUNS number is something that, any business should have? Is that what you're saying? If you are a business owner, you need to consider getting the DUNS
You
number.
need to consider it. You don't have to have that, it just is a help
Helps you
within
build
your
up.
business,
Okay.
yes.
But once again, if you're ever looking to work with like a Bank of America or a larger company, they're gonna look that up. So, yeah. Any more questions?
Questions, I like it. This is awesome, we love that participation, so we know that we're getting that good point across. You had a question?
know where they can find that EIN.
Yes, so the EIN is your tax identification number for your business. Just like you have a social security number for your person, you will have one for your business, and that can be found right at the IRS website. You can go up there, it's free to apply for that, and it will return probably within 24 to 48 hours by email, and you use that to open up your business banking accounts and to move forward in your business like that. It's okay if you've started your business and you don't have those things, you would just account for it under your own social as you're a sole proprietor. However, in order to disconnect your personal from your business, you need to do the EIN number, and that way your business has its own social number and they don't have to check your personal. If someone were to sue you, God forbid, then you would have the setup for them to sue the business and not the person.
Right.
And you can't go home and do it today. It has to be during like government business hours, like 8 to 5, 9 to 5, whatever. So as part of our program, and most programs that you go through, if you want to go to the next slide, they talk about the business model canvas. So all of you have one in front of you, I believe now. But if you look at this business model canvas and you fold it in half, one side covers all the things that make you money, and then the other side covers all the things that cost you money. And the value proposition makes you money and costs you money at the same time, which is why it's split down the middle like that. So we're going to talk about some of the key parts. More importantly, the things that we need to cover to make sure that your business doesn't fail. Right? So you can go to the next slide. And the first one is on the far right side of your paper. It's your customer segment. So what I see in almost every business that I work with is that the reason why companies fail is because at the end of the day, they don't know who their customer is. Yeah. If you don't know who your customer is, you don't know how to market your business, you don't know how to put out the messaging, you can't articulate your business correctly, if you just don't know who your customer is. You don't. Like, it's just so much difficult for you if you can't articulate your business. And your business model will help you overall do that. But knowing who your customer is going to give you the real insights into how to deliver your product, where to deliver it, and who you're going to deliver it to. So there's two parts of your customer that you definitely need to know. That's your demographic side and your psychographic side. So your demographic side, I always tell people, like, if you go to a census, that's your demographic side. So it's your age, it's your marital status, it's where you live, it's gender, race, number of children, occupation. It's all of the physical things about a person, basically. So these are the things that you need to understand about your customer from a demographic standpoint. And I have had someone, a couple weeks ago, I was doing one of these, and she said, my customer is anyone 20 to 70. That was, yeah. You need to narrow it down. And I use a rule of thumb, either do it by generation or do it by like a 15-year range. Now, of course, you're gonna gather other people outside of this target, that's fine, but you wanna focus your messaging on that 15-year range or less, it could be less. Like, when authors write books, they usually do it between a smaller age range, especially for children's books, because their reading levels are different. So consider age over everything when it comes to messaging, because I could be talking to, elderly people, and my messaging could be more about how they feel, at the end of life, let's say. But then if I try to give that same messaging to a person who's 19, they're like, I don't live forever, what are you talking about? Like, it's not gonna, reach the person in the same way. And I always like to use the other example of engagement rings. So you have an engagement ring, or I think some of you are married in here. I think I saw some rings in the room. So when you go get the ring, who is the customer?
The wife.
Man, whoa, that's interesting.
Right.
Right.
It's both. So you're going to have a primary customer in some case. Well, you're going to have a primary customer in every case, but a secondary customer in some cases. So it's about the person who buys. That's your primary person. And then your secondary person is the person who uses your product or your service.
Good point.
Yeah. So you might have to do this demographic and psychographic thing twice. But if you think about what K's Jeweler, every kiss begins with K, like that message is towards the man. Like it's not towards the woman. There's another one, I think, Hellsberg Diamond, she's gonna love it. Once again, it's towards the man, not the woman. Because they want to bring the man into their building. But the look and the feel of the commercials is the woman saying, "Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that one. Oh, I like the shape of this one. I want mine to be red, not diamond. You know,
Right.
ruby, not diamond."
Right.
So,
That's good marketing.
Yeah.
They know who their customer
yeah.
is.
So almost, I mean, when you look at these big brands do these commercials, like they're thinking about all of that. And if you think about the messaging, like each one gives you, and the visuals that they give you, like they're reaching those customers because they've done all the research. Now your psychographic thing, part of your customer should be like more of their attributes, their traits, their attitudes, their beliefs, their values. So like even for a church, like churches like, oh, well, we want people around this age range, or we want people with families because we want the families to grow up into the church. You know, they have different target markets. They may not consider it that way, but it's ran like a business. It doesn't matter if you have a nonprofit or for-profit or whatever, like all of these lessons apply. So what you need to consider is, you know, is your person, you know, constantly mean? Are they constantly happy? You know, are they, you know, going to church every Sunday, or are they going to church some Sundays? Because all of that's gonna help you deliver that message better, because you want to be able to say, hey, you know, my target customer is this person, which is your persona. My target customer is Chastity. Chastity goes to church 3 times a month. She shops at Walmart. She loves nice watches and shoes. I don't know anything about Chastity. I'm just making this up right now. But you want to know who that person is, and you want to be able mentally to walk in their shoes every day, because that's going to help you develop that persona, or those personas of your primary and secondary customer. So you take those two, and then once again you get that persona. So if you go to the next slide, we have some high-level personas of some of the people that I've worked with. I've changed their names into these pictures of stock, so you won't know who they were. But we have Jacob, who's a 37-year-old businessman, because this is actually a woman. I just changed her name, like I said. Married with 1 child, makes $125,000 a year, loves to read, hates technology, but's motivated by completing goals. So the fact that they hate technology tells me a lot as a customer, because my company, when we build online platforms, we do all of the tech stuff in the background for you. So Jacob is my customer because I know he hates technology. He's in the price range based on his salary. I'm not counting his pockets, but I know like he's in the salary range of the type of person I want to work with. He works a lot, and he's frustrated by employee retention, which is another thing that helps me, because the platform that he wants to use, he wants to help increase employee retention. So, I mean, I have a longer list for each one of these people, but it helps me understand what their day-to-day looks like. Next person, executive, 24. She's married with a stepchild. She makes $250,000 a year. She makes actually more than that now. She's still a customer. She travels a lot, likes to hang with friends, and wants to be in a space where she can be herself, because she's often in a room with a whole bunch of men all day long, 9 to 5, 9 to 10, or whatever in the corporate world. And she just wants to like chill out with her friends and be herself, because she feels like she can't do it in corporate life. And then we have Emily, who's a blogger. She makes $150,000 a year. Yes, blogging, you can do that. She's married with 2 kids, stay-at-home mom. She's outgoing, loves horses. I think she actually owns a horse, if I remember correctly. She loves to collaborate with people. She has a lot of partners because she is a blogger. She has people post for her blog, and she's motivated by having that dream lifestyle. And then she just like hates slow growth of like her new blog. She has a couple of them. So this allows me to get to know my customers better because I can pick Jacob and say Jacob is my primary customer, and I can use Jacob continuously to ask more questions and more questions and more questions. And another thing that we don't do as Black businesses is we don't use our customers like our board of directors because they should be helping us build our business. So now that I've gained you as a customer, I want to ask more questions. I want to give you surveys or have one-on-one conversations with you to see what your day-to-day is like, see what your struggles are, how can I help serve you better? Because that's going to bleed into my new customers. So that's why that persona and knowing your customer is so important. All right, next slide, please. So now that you know your customer, where do you reach them? You can reach them online, physically, you can reach them in a grassroots way. The grassroots way is coming back, y'all. Like that face-to-face, that collaboration, being in front of people is like coming back. Like we were in a stage, I feel like the last like 6-7 years where everything was like online. We had to be online, not necessarily now. But you want to talk about the online part because you use online a lot.
Sure. Online being one of our channels to get the word out about a business. That could be a new or existing business. I happen to have a few different businesses that I promote online. So I do use these things. There is Facebook, there is YouTube, there is Instagram, Tumblr, TikTok, Twitter, Reddit, LinkedIn. I have majority of those and I use the majority of the ones that I have. So even though you have all of them, you will find that your engagement will dictate how often you use a certain segment. I have a LinkedIn because people need to find me professionally. However, with my main salon industry business, there are more followers that are going to be on Instagram and they're going to be on Facebook because they want to see these styles being created and they're going to want to see us teaching the students, oh, you used to not be able to do a braid, now you can do a braid, now your client is fabulous, and they're giving you a testimonial. So those things are, you kind of pivot to which media platform you're going to use more often once you see your responses on there. And I have a TikTok, but I haven't been as active on there. So you see the newer ones as they unfold. I used to have the nickname Twitterless Tika, which was a joke amongst my friends because when everybody was doing a Twitter craze, I just never got into it. But I was still on Facebook, and you can put your family stuff on there, but you can also have your business page and put a business page out there and keep them separate. Even when we interview people for a business, we look at social media, so it would be to their benefit to have a personal page and a business page because whatever you're doing in your social life does not need to show up when you're trying to get this customer base that we're talking about here. They may not vibe with that. Either way, it's your personal business and should be kept separate. So then there is YouTube, which we are broadcasting right now on YouTube. They'll be able to go back on, even if they don't catch it live, they can go back and play it back at their leisure. So YouTube is a big one. And I posted a few on my personal YouTube page, and well, I won't say personal, it's more so a business page, but it's my personal branding, which is Tika Vision. And it's fun, you know, you can get up there, you just put your own stuff out there, you make it silly, make it fun or serious, whatever your endeavor is. And I do get feedback and responses off of the YouTube as well. So if you're doing how-tos or demos and things like that, you would gravitate more so to a YouTube version where you can actually show what you're doing or show why they should get it versus telling them. You can do both.
And Tika's a superstar. So like when you're starting your business, my suggestions always start with that 1 or 2 because you don't want to use all of your time in business just doing online marketing. So
correct. I don't use all my time for that. When I'm posting, it's not Tika posting. It's Tika's stuff, but I do have an assistant that does my media mostly because I don't have time to stop in the moment and do, okay, y'all gonna pause this class because I'm gonna go over here and post. No, when you're working, right? But what I can do is upload 5 pictures while I'm, step aside, load up 5 pictures, and then with my assistant, she can grab it and she knows what to do with it. You get someone, you kind of get to know each other over time. She knows what Tika would say about this here, or she knows what event is going on today. So she'll be like, oh, they're having fun in business, and she can be posting those things as we go along. And that's helpful, when you can get that. That is not in the beginning, like Adrian said. You can start just with Facebook or just with Instagram and kind of go from there and scale your way up.
And,
Thank you for calling me a superstar, by the way.
Good.
Y'all heard it.
Veteran.
Oh,
One of the examples I want to give is a friend of mine used to build a system for lawyers. And you would think that you would find your lawyers on LinkedIn all the time because they're super professional. But what you end up learning after like a year being in business, that these lawyers go home and they just scroll through Facebook all night. So he switched his marketing from LinkedIn to Facebook, grew exponentially, ended up selling the business. In like, I think a year and a half, something like that. But once again, you have to know your customer. Physical and digital, I should say physical, digital channels. Email marketing is still the #1 way to market digitally. Even though I know y'all probably get spam every day and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm tired. But when people email you, if they consistently do it, like they're always top of mind. Whether you read the email or not, sooner or later you're gonna click on one of 100 emails and you're like, man, I'm at this time of my life, I'm gonna start a business. Adrian been sending me emails for the last 2 years. Well, let me take his class or let me buy his book or whatever. And it's really about that consistency and building those campaigns out. Mailers still work. I know many of you probably still get the value pack from companies with all the coupons and stuff in it. Phone calls work. SMS text messaging is one of the up and coming things that works. The newspapers work. How many people read the newspaper recently in the last 3 months? See? None of you are part of the older target market because older people are still reading newspapers. They're still having subscriptions to newspapers. They're not even going online. They want that physical paper at hand. And then, like I said, grassroots is still it's really coming up now, especially with pop-up shops. People are launching products in farmers markets because they can launch their product. People can get the look and feel, and they can literally ask them how do you like it? How do you feel about it? It was another person in the Spark Grant program. She sold something called Magpies.
Yes.
And she set up in the farmer's market, and I went over there just to, talk to her and meet her. And one of the guys was like, oh man, these are only 2 for $10? That's great. Then another person came and was like, oh, it's 2 for $10? That's great. I was like, that sounds like your prices are too low.
Right.
Because they're sitting there like, oh, this is cheap.
What they're saying. Oh,
Yeah, they didn't say it was cheap.
Yeah.
But they said, oh, this is only 2 for $10?
I would pay for one of these
Exactly.
for $10. You gotta read between the lines. Okay, thank you.
But you get that feedback live. She wasn't even paying attention to it. But I was like, that's the second person who said it in a row. Coming up to buy.
I pay attention.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. What is your customer saying? So, and that's why the grassroots stuff really, really works because you get the face time with your target customer.
And for those of you who are local and have a tangible product, we do offer pop-up shops at one of my locations too, so you can get with me later on to talk about that because that's a good way to get that visibility with people passing by all day on a Saturday. So we can definitely discuss that.
Guys, I want to make you mindful of time. So
Okay.
How much time we got?
take the next 15.
Okay. Yeah, we got it.
All right, we'll go to the next one. So that's the channels. And then you want to know why your customer is buying. This is super important because everybody buys for a different reason. These are the top reasons. I try to keep up to date with this every year. There used to be pets on this list last year, but for some reason pets have been off. I don't know why. But people buy or use your products or services because they want to save money or make money. They want to save time, the convenience of it. They always say location, location, location. that's convenience, because I'll go to the gas station up the street versus the one 10 miles down the street that has lower gas. So that may, lower gas, 10 cents may not be as valuable if there's a gas station near me. People buy because of fear of security. I'm sure everybody locked their doors before they came in to their cars. So there's some, people aren't as trustworthy as they used to be. Look, I'm from the country, like we used to leave our doors unlocked.
right.
But now, my current house security system, it's not that we think something's gonna happen. I mean, we know something's gonna happen, but we have that, fear and, that something could happen at some point. People buy because of ego. Like, no one needs a Mercedes-Benz or a Bentley. Because, a Honda Civic has 4 wheels in it, or a Toyota Camry has 4 wheels, and it can go 300,000 miles versus 15. People buy for pleasure. You don't need that, chocolate cake late at night, but you bought it because it makes you feel good. It makes you feel satisfied. And of course, I wasn't trying to call anybody out. And then, of course, people buy for their children. Like, that's one of the biggest markets to this day. Like, children's products sell like hotcakes. So, think about that when you're thinking about your business. Like, it has to be one of these categories that your customer is buying for. So, just think about that as you're building your business. All right, next slide. And then partners. So, as you build your business, there's going to be a point where you need to scale, and you're going to be afraid to hire that first customer, because it's going to happen. Like, it's going to be for one or two reasons. Either you don't know how to hire the first customer, or you don't hire the first employee, or you don't trust someone to come in and do the work that you've been doing all this time. So either you got to just up and hire them based on some feedback from Tika or somebody who's done it, or you're just going to have to get over the fact that someone else is going to be doing parts of the business that you either don't like to do anyway, or that you feel like you do better. So you have to get over that. Like, we're trying to build businesses and build community. Like, we're giving people jobs for a reason, so they can build their families too. Not everybody's meant to be a business owner. Some people are just meant to be great employees. But an alternative to hiring is building partnerships. So these are a list of partnerships here. I'm just going to go through a couple of them, not even all of them. But buyer-supplier relationship, and some of these are meshed together. Could be multiple. But if you think of Toyota, they partnered with Michelin to have tires for their cars. I mean, you can't just have a car with no tires. If you go into like a Starbucks, go into a Target, there's a Starbucks there, because they have alliance between non-competitors. Even this one, the alliance between competitors. So, does anyone use Zelle in here? Created by multiple large banks. Not just one. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Fifth Third, yeah. They all came together to create Zelle.
Collaboration over competition. It's like, oh, well, this serves the whole industry, basically. So let's get a portion.
And then it's always great to have good advisors that you can count on and lean on, because not only are they going to give you good advice, but they're also going to connect you with other people who are doing something similar to what you're doing, or connect you to, the right customer. So I'm telling you, I have had some amazing advisors in my career, still do, but that's really going to help you. Joint ventures is one of my favorites, because these are two separate companies coming together to make one brand. I use the example of Drew Estates and Rocky Patel, two cigar companies. I can't remember too much about Drew Estates, except they make like flavored cigars, and then Rocky Patel is just like an old, very old cigar company. But they came together to make, I can't think what it's called, some kind of like flavored cigar, but it looked like a Rocky Patel. So they blended their brands together, and it's a really good selling cigar, apparently. And then, complementary services or market alliances. Like, if you can find someone who has a similar customer that you do, but they do something totally different, that's a great opportunity. If you have someone, I didn't mention like the local bakeries and stuff, But if you have someone who can enhance your service or product through what they do, like that's a good partnership. It could be a social media marketing person who has a company. That's a good partnership. All right, so we are now going to go into Tika's pitch. I think that's the next slide. So you can see an example. Oh no, actually we're going to go into what is the parts of the pitch, and then we're going to Tika's pitch.
Yeah.
So I love acronyms. So I'm actually creating a class off of this model of pitching. So the P is problem. What is the problem that you're trying to solve? I is the idea or the solution, because you may not have a business yet, so it could be an idea. So what are you trying to do to solve the problem? T is your team and your territory. So what is the team that you have today to solve that problem, and in what kind of landscape? So what kind of industry is it? What does the industry look like? Do we have any, I think someone said they had a cleaning business. Like somebody named their business real quick. You said what? Tutoring? So tutoring, you're in a great spot in the industry, because a lot of people have now gotten acclimated to doing work at home and doing work online. So that's the kind of landscape that you're in. So now you can like really talk, like give someone a visual of where your business sits in that industry in this day and time. Because it's going to be different 5 years now or 10 years from now. Then your calculations, all of your financials, you know, how many users you expect to have, all of the numbers. Because as Tika said, know your numbers. You need to know them off that. And then closing out with, how can you help me as a business owner? So the call to action, you might need partnerships, you might need funding, you might need customers. So how can you help me is the last part that you should always close with. Always close with the ask, because it's not a pitch if you're not. So Tika, I'm gonna come down here. Tika's gonna give her pitch of her salon, Serve.
Okay. Let's move on into.
The other one?
Yes, that's fine. You can go. Well, with that, when we're talking about my pitch, this is the actual winning pitch that got me into from the 150 to the 20 applicants that got accepted, and then from the 20 to the top 4 who actually received the $5,000 grant. It actually took me a year to use the $5,000 grant, because we had specific purposes that myself and my business partner wanted to use it for. And a year later, we actually have brought some of this to fruition that we were looking into. So we have 3 levels. We have the training center, we have the salon floor where the experienced stylists are now, and then we have the salon suites, which after we train them to become business owners, then they're self-sufficient to have their own businesses. And we're all working together in that network, forming those alliances that Adrian was talking about. In the beginning, when I did this pitch, we had 2 of those aspects plus our product line. So we had the salon, and we had the salon suites. And so we did take a slight pivot after the fact, but you can still get the point of it when I go through the pitch. And I did it called Salon. It was called Serve Salon Suites, Living the Sweet Life. And Serve has actually come to fruition a year later, so it is now a business, and we have multiple locations. The idea had already begun, but this is a nice catapult to get it noticed. All right, next slide. The mission. The mission for us was to create a new economic standard. And that was it's not just for us in Cabarrus County, even though it's represented for Cabarrus County for this pitch, but in my community, I want to create a new economic standard. We don't understand finances, okay, well, we will. You know, those kind of things is what we bring to the table. So business owners, we create business owners, and we provide upscale salon suites to house their salon and spa industry businesses. So by creating them, we're helping them to build clientele and things like that. Okay. The problem. What's your problem? Problems always lead to solutions, okay? So my problem was that recent cosmetology graduates desire entrepreneurship, so they want their own businesses, but they face a high barrier into entering into the cosmetic arts industry. Okay. the solution. We developed Serve Salon Suites, which offers co-working and training in shared salon suites. This model allows stylists to break through these barriers. And again, that's coming out of school, finding a good place to fit in, finding that clientele that can help them build up to be able to feel financially secure, to step out, to become business owners. All right, next. The continued solution is Serve Salon Suites. We collaborate with community college, different cosmetic arts companies to bring those students into our program. So they may be in the school at Aveda, or they may be in school at one of the local places, natural hair care, different things like that. We go in and we get on those boards. So I'm on the advisory board at like all the area cosmetology schools, because I need to know the staff, I need to know the students, and then they get to know us. They get to know our representation too, so it's a give and take, and that's where it all begins. All right, next. How it works. So they come to us, they're either getting licensed or have recently gotten licensed. If they're not, it's fine, because we can help them get through those steps and allow them to study and do mannequin work. Then we help them to build a clientele for potentially a year or 2 years, and now they're ready to become business owners. And they get to move into a salon suite, customize it, they get coaching on how to not only begin, but to sustain this business once they're in their own business. And you have to know your revenue model. We know where our main sources of revenue come from. They come from the salon suites, which they are our tenants now, so they pay us a rent on a regular basis to be in the network, to be in our buildings. Then there's the trainees and the stylists. They make money. Everybody gets, paid with that. And then there's the retail. There's the classes, and there's the consulting. So we know we have different streams of income within this business. The retail is our product line, the LLC, which is Love Our Curls products, and then we do classes, coaching, consulting with other small businesses. Next. Meet the team. Hi, TK and Connie, I see y'all. We are the founders. So this is my business partner, if anybody has not met Connie. And then we have a board of trustees. We have Whitney Whitlock, she's in the Virginia area, and Amy Quick, she's in the Raleigh area, but they're in our industry. We started all young in the industry together, and we actually can bounce ideas off of them. If we need to vote and different things on like that, we will bring them in or take their opinions on that. Next. There we are again. Tika and Connie have really built a nice career path in the salon industry, thereby becoming experts. We are called the Boss Breeders because we are raising these businesses, and we have been in several publications, even graced the cover of New Growth magazine because of the business model that we're accomplishing here. And it's not just helping us, it's helping families, it's helping people in our community. When they come to us, they may be students that desire to purchase a home or to get that car or to get to their next level. And by following our proven business model, they're able to do those things. Next. The salon suite interest spiked really during COVID, because it was already a thing to where people wanted their individualized space, but now it's like, oh, we need a social distance. Oh, we need that privacy. And it really blew up to where people wanted to be isolated a little more. And a lot of larger salons are having to scale on that and figure out what to do to create that individualized area for people. Okay. Why now? Along with COVID, the salon suites industry is in rapid growth, and the salon itself around the country gives us about $63 billion. The salon industry is a billion with a B dollar industry, and globally it is a $532 billion business, but it's rising. These are last year's numbers. It's been over a year since this was out, and they have gone up ever more since then. It is definitely a nice industry to go in to make money, and so that's why now people are recognizing that this is not just doing hair, kitchen beautician, and things like that. There's anything that is going to beautify the body, make you feel good, those are considered the salon industry, because there's spa services, there's not just hair, there may be makeup and eyes and massage. There's so many things that cater to the body and the overall self that is considered in this industry. Okay, next. That proven business model. Serve is the expansion of Lucky You Salon and Suites in Charlotte, North Carolina. We are now 11 years of a salon and 6 years of salon suites, and we house over 23 businesses in 6,000 square feet in that one location. And this is a model of someone's salon within our building. It's my little protege, Naturally Rose, and that is the nice. Everything is pink in there. It's a little bit brighter when you see it in person, but that's how you can customize your own space once you become business owners and still remain in network. So we're bouncing clients off of each other. If someone in the business is booked, guess what? There's 20 more businesses in there. So we're going to make sure that the client is not only satisfied, but that wealth does not leave the building. Okay? Next. And they want to know, when you do a pitch for a particular company or organization, they're going to want to know, what are you doing with this money? This is $5,000, and so it doesn't do a lot when you're at a certain level of business. It doesn't take your business all the way to the next level, but it can help with a certain component of your business. So we were able to potentially use it for a functioning website where you can get up there and have people apply online and have a subscription service, things like that. Or it could be for a sign, because even the lit up signs out there, those things cost $5,000 or more. And people don't understand that portion of it when you get into business, but when you're just starting out, 5,000 can probably do more to catapult you to the next level versus when you're scaling to a next level. But all funding is appreciated and accepted, okay? We're gonna find something to do with that money. And also, I'll put that it would drive traffic to the Cabarrus Center, because we always would tell people there was resources there as well, and that was a part of my pitch. And lastly was the ask. I turn to my group and I say, if you want to help to preserve this idea and catapult this idea, then we're asking for funding. It takes money to get to this next level. And then so if there's investors in the room at that point, bam, they're now thinking, okay, well, I got money, that's a great idea. They've been in business a long time, they've already proven this model. Let me see what I can do to link up with them and help them out. And that's what you're here for. You want to ask. If I needed more clients, but the money was already flowing on the level that I was at, and I wasn't quite ready to take it to the next level, I might say, my ask is that tell a friend, tell them to come on down to the farmer's market and buy one of my nice food items. Whatever you're asking for at the time, that's how you're going to close it out. You too can be a part of this model by give me your money. Whatever it is, you know, you want to ask. And that's the end of my particular pitch. And this pitch is one of the winning ones, because I was able to tell, you know, all around what I'm trying to do in business, what I have done, what I brought to the table. And even if I hadn't brought anything, if I sound good saying what this is going to look like, I can still get that money. So you want to be able to just know your idea back and forth, in and out. All right, any questions? Okay.
At any point during your pitch, do you talk about the return the investor will get?
Yes, sometimes there is a slide for that, so that's a great question. They may want to know the exact numbers. Sometimes that is furnished to them off to the side, because depending on who's in the room, who's there, there may be an off-topic, an off sidebar conversation. But yes, I did actually have a slide in here at one point that said, this is our revenue for XYZ year. This is what we can attain in 5 years if we grow this model and scale like this and that, but y'all can't know my numbers.
Because we're a little bit behind time, I want to make these working sessions though, because this is very good information. We have a couple of things we want to do. So if you guys don't mind, I know I'm even getting on hospitality now. We can just go in there, grab our food, everybody grab, and we kind of sit in a social circle while we're eating, and then we'll come back, and if you guys don't mind, if y'all can eat and talk, y'all can talk at the same time.
And then
so let's grab our food, Chastity, if you don't mind holding us up, then grabbing our food, and then come back, and we'll go ahead and continue to ask questions, because this is good. And then we're gonna do a quick test. We gotta do see if you'll absorb anything from what you taught us today. So
if you were listening.
Yeah, you're definitely. So Chastity is the first with the question when we get back.
When we get back, okay.
Let's grab, let's eat, let's multitask.
Where's our photographer? Come back, Miles. You need to catch this.
All right.
Oh, not now. Okay.